This story will cover from then to now and next, all about change, how to turn losers into winners. As they say, the wolf has had a bad press ever since the Red Riding Hood story broke. You can understand why some farmers hate wolves, to the extent they show off their revenge in public for all to see, confirming yet again the reputation of this wild dog.
It appeared on television, and its vital statistics were even exhibited to MPs on the steps of Parliament in Oslo.
That was then, but what about the next generation? It's going to be difficult to change an image, especially when the local TV station invents a sequence like this. Of course, wolves must eat to live, feed their family, and often that brings them into conflict with man. And this man, as it happened 30 years ago in Sweden. His name was Hugo Ekman, and this shooting of the last female surviving in the whole country was to become a famous legal case.
I grabbed my rifle and rushed out, expecting to be too late. I saw the wolf up by the gateway and fired without thinking. It collapsed into the bushes. I followed and fired again, and this is the spot.
To some, Ekman was a hero. Others sent him hate mail, as the mother's pups starved back in the den. A local tracker, Jan Wirtberg, had been trying to help this family.
Already knew the wolves came close to farms. I recorded this 2 nights after she was killed, and it's the rest of the family calling for her.
Here come the killers, orphaned wolf pups, well cared for, in another place, another time. Milk, not meat. In the past, the wolf depended on wild prey, like wild boar, well equipped to defend its family. But the wolf may also have a family too, which must be fed. Venison, food on the hoof. Wolves take the weaker, slower ones, strengthening the stock. That's okay for deer, but perhaps when easier sheep became available, things got tricky. That's when the losing started. This wild dog, so successful in the past, from the Arctic across the USA to the deserts of the Middle East and India, Russia, Europe and beyond, kept fed by its feet, as they say. We'll be a wolf across Europe, crossing national boundaries, invisible to the wolf, but crucial in that it may be killed in one country and not the next, winning in some and not in others. Another hazard, he may be hit by traffic, And as the motorway network expands, wolf territories become more and more fragmented. If he reaches Zamora in northern Spain, he's on a loser, though help may be at hand. The local wolf supporters are trying to stop a wolf auction, where wolves are baited in and shot for a big fee. This became a controversy across Europe between wolf lovers and wolf haters. In the past, some farmers learned to live with wolves by keeping their sheep safely in these round huts. The wolves had to revert to the original wild prey, like deer, picking out the weak ones, whilst the stronger ones escaped to produce stronger offspring. Today, farmers don't have to spend time and money controlling wolves. In the safety and comfort of a modern barn, the potential threat is kept outside. Guard dogs are important too, aware of their wild ancestors out there in the wilds of Spain. As they say, when you see a wolf, it's already seen you 1,000 times, and smelt and heard you too. That's a challenge to any hunter hunting a wolf. Eyes in the sky too. Vultures scour the Picos Mountains of northern Spain, perhaps looking for the remains of a wolf kill. Here the natives have not been friendly. Welcome to the Choco de los Labos. Fences past little wooden hides, driven by the villagers into a pit built for the purpose. Many wolves died this way. But now, surprise, surprise, this is a tourist attraction, a glimpse of losing and winning as Spain seems to be changing its mind about wolves. Young people are proud of their Spanish wolf with its orange legs, as on this huge one killed in the past when the only good wolf was a dead wolf.
¿Y de qué año sería eso? ¿Los años 70 o ya 80?
No, eran ya, pues mira, en el 72, 73.
Every man who killed one was a hero. Today he would not do that, and his younger listeners would not either, for sure.
Eran...
Times are changing in the community. Today there are some 2,000 wolves in Spain, increasing but mostly unprotected, except in the south. Very confusing if you're a travelling wolf. Spanish supporters are now linking up with the French next door, but both are up against that persistent image of the wolf, like the shark, many say, these days, undeserved. So who would have thought in the French town of Gévaudan there are 100 semi-wild wolves, inspired by Brigitte Bardot, who apparently liked wolves almost as much as men. The beast of Gévaudan was a notorious killer, they say, back in 1767. The young get the new message, despite crass titles like Discovery TV's Man-Eating Super Wolves. But the snarling, the teeth, still common on so-called Fang television. Mongolian wolves face to face may help change our image with appropriate commentary, in French of course, including le loup, meaning wolf. In the south of France, famous for its beaches, yachts and glamorous lifestyle. Hardly wolf territory, you might say, yet upstream from the river Loup are some wild mountains and small towns where wolves stare out from shops and get bought as souvenirs. Yes, this is wolf country, and here's a card to prove it. Though the sender will probably never see one, so shy are wolves, and with good reason some would say. They might be shepherds guarding their flocks with man's best friend against his worst enemy, he might say. And show his protest by driving his flocks through Nice along the French Riviera. France has about 100 wolves, and compensation is paid for livestock damage. They move to and from Italy, where they are protected. In Italy they are mainly in the national parks in Abruzzo, but also in more human-populated areas, even sighted denning 25 miles from Rome. Crossing over traffic where no restrictions apply these days, wolves can move through France to other parts of Europe, including the Alps, Belgium and Holland, a particularly people-crowded country. And now across to exactly the opposite, where our travelling wolf would feel very much at home. Lots of thick forest here in Romania. Yes, odd. With the odd, yes, odd large building hidden away in Transylvania, the home of strange beasts, they say. Now be careful you don't trip over one. Both bears and wolves flourish around here, bringing tourists a useful income in a poor country. Peter runs these tours which attract people from all over Europe. They would like to see a wolf, certainly be one. Into the den, hopefully the wolf is out at the moment. And with dogs, radio tracking a radio-collared wolf. And even trying to talk to one. Peter has a tame wolf, so they can all go walkies together. And go tracking. Big tracks lead them to a bear. And later they will see a wolf with a radio collar, albeit on a screen. It's from the nearby town of Brasov, where they will go tomorrow. Wolf likes are almost everywhere, so if a real wolf passed through, people wouldn't take any notice. Soon it will be dark, and our tourists do their homework by those famous wolves Romulus and Remus. Peter looks a bit nervous. No, it's not a wolf in the back seat, it's his dog. But this is no dog, or even a wolf. It's a big bear on a skip. Rather sad behaviour for such a fine animal. And a wolf, like foxes in Britain, at home in town. There are some 2,500 wolves in Romania, and they have legal protection. They are increasing, winning, and no compensation is paid for livestock damage. Autumn comes to the great forests of Romania and the Carpathian Mountains. We've travelled from Spain and France in spring and summer and on past Italy, and it seems, overall, the wolf in Europe is winning. But as we head on north, past Slovakia, 400 and hunted, Poland 800 increasing and protected. Even manicured Denmark received wolves from Germany with its 150 protected. But is this too good to be true, if you're a wolf, that is? An ancestor may be tracking you, a rather special one. Hunting dogs are valuable, and their owners may well resent wolves to the extent of killing them, even if they are now protected in Norway and Sweden. Man and wolf compete for the same prey, deer and moose, and a wolf that kills a hunting dog is effectively committing suicide. Now these tracks definitely lead to a suicidal situation. In Lapland, the Sami simply will not tolerate wolves, and they have the means to track down any wolf that dares to turn up in their territory. Reindeer, key to the Sami herders. A noisy approach. He probably even never saw the wolf, but its days are numbered if it stays around the determined Sami and their reindeer. And the signs. Good news if it's another wolf, but not if it's that distant relative, the dog. The farmer will protect his sheep and may receive state help as wolves now spread across Scandinavia. Winter. More tracking. Scientists are finding out where individual wolves go, and this may help reassure people that wolves are under control. So man and wolves may be able to live together, and bears too. One wolf was monitored for 14 years. Studies have shown a massive fall and rise in Sweden. From Torsby, wolves have spread out across the country. It was in this area that Hugo Ekman famously shot the last mother wolf in Sweden in 1985. In court, he got off.
A neighbour phoned me and told me he had spotted a wolf by his cottage.
And how things have changed. There are now some 400 wolves in Norway and Sweden, well protected with compensation paid for livestock damage. Over in Russia, there are up to 30,000 and increasing. Excluding Russia, Europe as a whole now has a total of 12,000 wolves in 28 countries, and they're spreading. There's talk of reintroducing wolves to Scotland. Their increasing success across Europe makes a case for that. So don't cry, wolf, you may be winning.